Hello, this is Amanda Kelly with This Art Called Life. It is Friday, December 11th, and I am on day 11 of this Let There Be Light series, so welcome, and let's get ready to dive in. So today, I am excited to talk about this topic because we've been going through the shadows and the darkness a little bit the past few days, and today I'm going to talk about reclaiming your power and why outsourcing your expertise and looking for a savior outside of yourself is going to keep you stuck, is going to keep you small, and is just not going to work. So there's a lot of layers to this, but the whole purpose of going through the dark night of the soul and doing the shadow work and digging in, diving deep, and showing up for yourself in these really, really difficult and challenging ways is so that you can reclaim your power. It is all in service of your higher good. It is all in service of your greater potential. So it will ultimately empower you by diving deep and getting clear on what's blocking you and what's limiting you. So I want to take a look at this aspect of putting our power outside of ourselves, and let me be clear, this happens unconsciously. It is not something that we consciously choose or decide to do, largely because of our programming and our conditioning and the way, and yesterday I was getting into beliefs, where they come from. Hey, how are you? Thanks for joining. So yesterday I was getting into the limiting beliefs, where they come from, or just our general belief system, not even just the limiting, unhelpful beliefs, but where do they come from? They come from childhood, they come from society, they come from culture, they come from our cultural programming and conditioning, and we don't even realize it. So when I talk about outsourcing or placing the power outside of ourselves, we're not doing that consciously. It's just something that we have been more or less trained to do. So here's a good example, and then one that it hit home for me when I was going through my cancer journey. We see a white lab coat, aka a doctor or a scientist, and we assume they know everything. And we also expect them and assume that they know everything about us. But let's take a step back. While they are extremely intelligent, and I am not taking away all the intense training that they have done, how much time have they spent with you? Even your oncologist, if they spend 20 minutes, how much time, maybe half an hour if you're lucky, how much time do they really spend with you? How well do they really know you? Also, are they inside your body? Are they inside your mind? So think about that for a second. Yes, they can run tests, they can, get the lab work and interpret it in ways that most of us are not trained to. That's really, really crucial and important for us to have that resource. And for that, I'm very grateful. For that, I applaud them and commend them and appreciate them tremendously. I'm certainly not trying to take away all the good that they do. That said, sometimes their guess is as good as yours. And it's when we're in these situations, and honestly, when it comes to treatment, they might have a recommended protocol that they have seen work for other people, but that doesn't necessarily, and especially, in the world of cancer, where the odds are not necessarily very high, there are times when we have to dig in and question and say, okay, is this right for me right now? And the answer may actually, if we allow ourselves to tune in and listen to our heart, listen to our intuition, the answer actually may be no. And that's a scary, scary thing for most people to actually consider, much less confront and acknowledge and accept. So this isn't necessarily easy, and I'm using a relatively extreme example here, absolutely, because we're literally talking about life or death matters in a lot of cases. But even when we're talking about a small cold or something that requires a antibiotic, Antibiotics can nip something in the bud quickly, and oftentimes they're helpful. That said, antibiotics are also extremely overprescribed, often because they don't know what else to do. They don't know what else to give you. So then you have the opportunity to tune in and say, okay, listen, to yourself anyway, say, hey, thanks for tuning in. Because okay, the doctor is telling me that I should do this, but how does it feel for me? If I sit here and think about this medication and what it might do to my body, how it might impact my gut health, because antibiotics destroy bacteria, including the good ones in our gut. So, then we can actually take a step back and say, all right, is this for my ultimate good? Is this really, and you do your own research too. This is another thing about reclaiming your power. You have a lot of resources. Living in this day and age, we all have so many resources literally at our fingertips. So, dive in, do the research, and you're gonna find conflicting information. Then you have to sit with it and say, okay, which sounds true for me? Which rings truer? Who do I trust more? And then go from there. So reclaiming your power does often require you to question things. Be the annoying patient. Be the person who asks a gajillion questions before signing on the dotted line. No matter what situation you're in. A lot of people just want to breeze right through it, blast right through it, because there is that small print that they don't want you to see. And it's not the easiest process. When we just want somebody to tell us what to do in scary situations, especially for dealing with medical issues. But they don't know you the way you know you. And what that niggling thing, let's say you go to a doctor and they brush off your symptoms for months, but deep down something is wrong. You put your foot down and demand that test and don't walk away until they give it to you. When I was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't think I had cancer, but I knew something was wrong. I actually called up my doctor after doing a little bit of Googling. I did the thing you're not supposed to do, of course, but I went down the rabbit hole. I looked at my symptoms, which at that point, being a fit, healthy yogi who could do a handstand and touch her toes to her head at the same time, didn't really add up. So I literally called up my doctor and was like, all right, I need to see the doctor this afternoon, and I need a CT scan. And they were like, it doesn't work that way. You are not going to get a CT scan. And I was like, well, I know I need to be seen by the doctor, and So I was like, what's the earliest appointment that you have? And so I went in and I told the doctor my symptoms, and he sent me down for an x-ray first. And then anyway, so I went down to get the x-ray, and he was like, come back up after the x-ray and we'll look at the results together. And I was like, great. So then when I came back up, he pulled up the screen and he paused and he went, And I was like, that's an interesting response. And then he turned the screen and said, see this white film over your left lung? I don't know what that is. Looks like you've earned that CT scan after all. So I didn't know. I was not medically trained. I was good at science. I almost went into pre-med, but I was like, no, don't like the whole sterile white lab coat vibe. Not gonna do that. So I didn't have medical training. I didn't even know specifically how a CT scan worked and all of that, but I deep down knew that was the thing that I needed, and I needed it that day. And sure enough, I had a grapefruit-sized growth inside of me. So, which I found that the following day. So this is just one example. This is my experience, but this is an experience of somebody who trusts their gut over the knowledge of the person who they're speaking to, who works in that field. It was only the receptionist at that point, to be fair, but she's like, well, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to get it today. And I did. So, I didn't want to be right about it. But at the end of the day, my intuition felt vindicated, because what if I had waited? My left breathing apparatus, there was 2 millimeters left of breathing space. They said that my left lung was fairly close to collapsing. If I didn't have that information, if I didn't have the knowledge that something was very off and there was literally a growth inside me, I wouldn't have taken the steps that I did even before I had a formal diagnosis in hand. So trusting your intuition, being in tune with your intuition, trusting yourself is a huge piece of reclaiming your power, because you're not going to take a no for an answer when you know that this is the right thing for you, when you know that this is necessary. You are going to stand up for yourself, stand up for your beliefs, and you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going after the thing that you desire. If it's a goal, a thing that you're like working to manifest, for example, it doesn't have to be related to negative things at all. But I think right now we have to also collectively get really clear on knowing what is right for us versus listening to the so-called experts out there, because it is a very confusing time. There is a lot of conflicting information and a lot of things that just don't really add up. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to begin to exercise our self-guided trust and intuition, and to help to practice standing in our power more and more by questioning what is being said, by questioning what we're being told, by questioning what is right for me right now, what makes me feel good, what makes me feel healthy, what makes me feel alive. Because what are we here for? We're here to live. We're here to live our lives. So I think this is a really, really important topic for us to address right now. And once we get into the level of the spiritual as well, and I certainly am not making any judgments on alternative belief systems, I tend to identify as spiritual, detached from any specific religious construct. I was raised Christian, and a lot of those values I hold very closely as well. But I tend to just align more with the word spirituality right now, because I have studied Buddhism and yoga and other, different thoughts on different religious beliefs. I'm losing the word that I was looking for. But so I kind of have integrated a few different things, and I believe in basically I do believe in higher power and higher truths. But I also believe that we are one. And by placing a savior outside of ourselves, it is keeping us in separation. It is keeping us in a state of disempowerment, because it means that we don't have the ability to rise up ourselves. We don't have the ability to heal ourselves, to heal our lives. We have to put the power outside of us to be saved. I think we're more powerful than that. I believe that we are far more powerful than that. That these ascended masters like Jesus are way showers. They're here to show us. They've come into human form to guide us, to show us our potential, the possibility that does lie within. So that's getting into like next level ideas, but I have been diving into this a lot lately in the past couple years of my journey, and this is what really rings true for me and so many in the community that I have been in their energy and in connecting with. This is really, I think, what it's all basically coming back to, that we are our own saviors. We are the ones who have to stand in our power, because it's like this idea of You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. It's the same for us. We have to choose the path. We have to choose to show up and do the work ourselves. We can follow the way of the way showers, like Jesus, if that rings true for you. We can follow that path and really immerse ourselves in their teachings, but we are the ones who have to show up and do it. We can't wait for somebody to just fix everything for us if we're not willing to show up and take the aligned action that will support our growth in that direction. So this is what I mean when, like I say, reclaim your power. Reclaiming power means taking responsibility for your life in the sense that you are bringing in an internal locus of control. That's a psychological expression. Your locus of control is your sense of autonomy, that you are the creator of your life, that you are the director of your destiny. You are the author of your dreams and all of that. So it is an empowering situation to be in, an empowering state rather to be in. So reclaiming your power is really just confronting this idea that you do have control over the outcome or the direction of your life. Let's put it that way, the direction of your life. And taking responsibility means taking responsibility for your thoughts, for your feelings, for your emotions, for what you consume. So that includes food, that also includes media, it includes books, it includes podcasts and YouTube and TV. What are you bringing into your consciousness? So reclaiming your power, like simple steps, get awareness of your thoughts. Where are they? And that goes into a couple other videos that I've shared. And where's your mindset? Where are your thoughts and emotions and feelings predominantly lying, in the higher vibrational states or the lower vibrational states, like fear and anger and sadness and grief and despair? And I'm certainly not saying not to feel those. Of course, we have to feel those to process them so that we can integrate and release them. We cannot dwell in those states and expect to be able to manifest brilliant, amazing lives. It's just not the way it works. We have, like attracts like. So we want to raise our vibration, and we have the power to do that ourselves. So put yourself in the energy of joy, of love, of doing things that you desire, doing things that you enjoy, and gratitude. Getting back to one of the earlier videos, gratitude is the threshold. Gratitude is a powerful way to help you shift. So we have all the tools to help reclaim our power, help us reclaim our power. So it's bringing all the pieces together: mindset, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, feelings. All of these are so crucial in our lives and really determine the experience of our lives. And we actually are in a position of being in control of those. Now, I'm not saying we can control everything in our lives necessarily, but we can control our reactions, which basically dictates our experience of our lives. So it's fun stuff at the end of the day. So think about, where are you? This is another really good one to think about. Where are you giving your energy? Where are you putting your energy to? What are you giving it to? Who are you giving it to? And then, is that uplifting you or is that draining you? So really start to consider these pieces for yourself. And these are the first steps in reclaiming your power, taking responsibility for what you can control in your life, which includes your thoughts, feelings, emotions, beliefs, mindset, and what you consume and what you give your energy to. Okay? So that is a lot. I will leave it there for today. I love this topic because I think that this is like the major shift or the big game changer for, really changing things in your life. Like, this is what it all boils down to, taking all the other pieces and now taking responsibility in the most empowering way possible. So yeah, I hope that this resonates with you, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for showing up. Onward and upward in love and light, guys. We got this.